ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नम ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome back to our Saturday and Sunday series on the exploring Raganuga Bhakti. I'll just recap what we discussed in our last sessions. We have been discussing the definitions of what is Raganuga Bhakti. We saw this definition, we elaborately discussed this in one class at least, that the Raganuga Bhakti is followed in the footsteps of Ragatmika Bhaktas. And then we understood these terms Raga, Anuraga, and Ragatmika. And then we went to what is this Ragatmika Bhakti? What is found in the Vrajvasis? And following their footsteps, what it is followed is Raganuga Bhakti. Sorry, I forgot actually. It is Ishte Swarasiki Raga. Ishte Swarasiki Raga Paramavishtata Bhavet Tanmaya Bhavet Bhakti Satra Ragatmika Audita. Ishte means the worshipable Lord, Rag, intense, deep thirst of love, spontaneous, Paramavishtata, which, gives absorption in the object, Tanmai, it is completely filled with. That kind of bhakti, Satra, here in this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, is called as Ragatmika Bhakti. And then we went into the types of Ragatmika Bhakti. There is Sambandha Rupa and Kama Rupa. There are these two types. And which is impelled by congenial feelings is called Kama Rupa, which is impelled by relationships is called as Sambandha Rupa. And with respect to this, in the last class, we saw where is a scriptural proof for this kind of a Ragatmika Bhakti. The proof is there in the 7th canto. Narad Muni tells Yudhishthir. And we discussed these two verses in the last class quite in detail. Kama dveshat bhayat snehat yatha bhakteshwaramana avesha tad agham hitva bhavas tad gatim gata. And gopya kamat bhayat kamso dveshat chaidyadayo nrapa sambandhat vrishnaya snehat yuyam bhaktya vayam vibhu. So here, how systematically Jiva Goswami analyzes, and he says Gopya Kamat refers to Ragatmika Bhakti. Bhaya and Dvesha is it doesn't it's unfavorable to Bhakti, so it is not included. Sambandhat Vrishnaya refers to the Vrishnis of Vraj, like Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, the other Sakas, all are. And Snehad Yuham refers, Sambandhat Snehad Yuham refers to the Pandavas, but they are not classed as Ragatmika Bhaktas because the Pandavas have knowledge about the Lord's Aishwarya, that he is supreme. And Bhaktya Vayam Vibho, we all by Bhakti refers to through Vaidhi Bhakti we have perfected our lives. Narad Muni in his previous life practiced Vaidhi Bhakti and perfected. So this is a proof which Jiva Goswami gives and very systematically analyzes. So I had put everything in the chart here. The emotions, fear and hatred is rejected. Sneha, affection, is predominated by awareness of Lord powers. Bhakta Vayam Vibho should be accepted as Vaidhi in nature. And then Kama is Ragatmika Bhakti, that is Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. And Sambandhat Vrishnaya refers to again Ragatmika Bhakti, Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. So through these two verses, Rupa Goswami proves that this kind of Ragatmika Bhakti, that is Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti and Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti, the scriptural proof is in the 7th canto. And then there is a slight discussion how these two verses, 274 and 275 it is, 275, there are 5 items. Kamat, Gopya Kamat. This is Ragatmika Bhakti. Dveshat Chaitya Adev Nripa, Shishupal and all other, kings who were envious of Krishna. This is not favorable. Bhayat Kamso, Kamsa, always in fear, was completely absorbed in Krishna. But again, it is not favorable. So this is rejected. Snehat was mentioned in verse 274. Verse 274 refers to this verse, 274 in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Kama, Dveshat, Bhayat, Snehat, Yatha Bhakteshwar. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, Yatha Bhakti. So in Bhayat, it is Kamso. This is not favorable. Snehat, Sambandhat Vrishnaya. The Vrajvasis and not Yadus. They are classed as Ragatmika Bhaktas. It is Ragatmika Bhakti, and especially it is Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. And there is Sambandhat Snehat Yam, that is the Pandavas. It is not classed as Ragatmika Bhakti because Ragatmika Bhakti is only in the Vrajvasis, found in the Vrajvasis, who do not accept Krishna as God. They accept Krishna as his son, as a lover, as a friend. So the Pandavas knew Krishna as God. They knew his supremacy. So here, although Sambandhat Vrishnaya and Snehat Yuha, Sambandha Snehat Yuham, Sambandha is both connected to Vrishnaya as well as the Pandavas. Although the Pandavas had very deep affection for the Lord, but they knew that the Lord is supreme. So this is not classed as Ragatmika Bhakti. And the Bhakti which was mentioned in 274, in 275 verse, Bhaktya Vayam, we all perfected or attained the Lord by practicing Vaidhi Bhakti and perfected attaining Siddhi, Sadhya Bhakti. And then this is classed as Vaidhi Bhakti. So from these two verses, it is explained that Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti is the gopis and Sambandhat Vrishnaya is the Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. So this is how Rupa Goswami proves that these type of bhakti are practiced in Braj and the scriptural proof is there right in the Bhagavatam. Also, we discussed that how the gopis and those who are, very envious of Krishna, like Shishupal and comes, attain the same destination. So there we discussed how the Brahma Jyoti is also Brahman and the personality of Godhead, Krishna, is also Brahman. So the analogy of the sun and the sunlight. So these, those who are envious or those who are killed by Krishna, they merge in the Brahma Jyoti, whereas the gopis, they attain the Lord's lotus feet. So this in two verses, Rupa Goswami clarifies. Now we begin today's discussion, that is text 1 to 280. Now, Rupa Goswami has spoken that, he has quoted in his own verses, previous two verses, that, the those who are envious of Krishna, were killed by Krishna, they attain impersonal Brahman, they attain liberation. But those who are, those who love the Lord and practice pure devotion, they attain the Lord's lotus feet. Now, where is the proof again? Where is the scriptural proof for this? For these two type of Ragatmika Bhaktis who attain those destinations. Now, Rupa Goswami in this verse, mentions, where is the proof? Tatacha Brahmanda Purane. So in the Brahmand Puran, there is a proof. So this is the proof which Rupa Goswami is now giving. Siddhalokastu tamasa pare yatra vasantihi siddha brahma sukhe magna daitascha harina hata. Siddhalok, the spiritual world. The spiritual world is called as Siddhalok also sometimes. And Siddhalok also refers, within the material world, there are the higher planetary systems above the heavenly planetary systems like the Janalok, Tapalok, Maharlok, and the Brahmalok. Sometimes they are also called as Siddhalok, where the, mystic yogis, who have attained natural siddhis who reside. But Siddhalok term has to be always, understood in the context. So in the context here in the bracket, it is mentioned it is the spiritual world. So Siddhalok here refers to the spiritual world. Siddhaloka is beyond Prakriti. Siddhalokastu tamasa pare. Pare means it is beyond this, this material world is called as tamas. Asatoma satgamayo, tamasoma jyotirgamayo. So the entire material realm is called as tamasa and the entire spiritual world is called as jyoti. So similarly here it is, tamasa pare. There, yatra, demons killed by Krishna, daityascha harina hata, and some sages, siddha, dwell, vasantihi, merged in the happiness of Brahman. Brahma sukhe magna. So very clearly in this Brahmand Puran verse, it is mentioned how equal destination, the siddhis, the sages who practice intense tapasya, who want to merge in the impersonal Brahman of the Lord, they are, they are liberated, as well as the sages. The sages also, sorry, as well as the demons. The demons also get the same benefit as the sages. So this is the glory of even one who is killed by the Lord. So here there is a commentary and explanation by Srila Jiva Goswami. So let us go into that. The proof that the demons merge in the Brahman will be given in the first half of the verse, 282. The proof that some demons attain the planet of the Lord but still remain merged in the happiness of Brahman is stated in this verse. So he will be quoting some more proofs, especially verse number 282, which will be coming very soon. So there he will quote that the demons, merge in the Brahman. And some demons attain the planet of the Lord, but they still merged in the happiness of Brahman is stated in this verse. So sometimes, how to understand these things, that, they attain the planet of the Lord and at the same time they are still merged in the Brahman happiness. So it is very difficult to conceive in the conditioned state But just to give an example that, when the husband and a wife are happily living at home and relishing a very nice relationship, but when they fight with each other, they still reside in the home, and now they are not talking to each other, they are facing opposite each other, and there's no relationship or no rasa there. So similarly, although these demons attain the Lord's abode, but they are relishing the Brahma Saukya. There is no rasa in the form of relationship with the Lord. So that is what it means here. Thus the phrase Tatacha Brahmanda Purane moreover is used. Siddha refers to sages. The sages and the demons dwell on that planet of the Lord, merged in the happiness of Brahman. So both the Siddhas and the sages attain the same destination. Now, next verse of Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, he clarifies that those who worship with pure love, they attain the lotus feet. So let us recite this verse. Ragabandena kenapi tam bhajato vrajantyami angri padma sudha prema rupastasya priyajana. Those persons most devoted to the Lord, tasya priyajana, who are the very form of prema, prema rupa, and who worship him with intense spontaneous absorption, tam bhajato raga bandena, ishteswa rasiki raga, as it was mentioned, attain the nectar of the lotus feet. Rajanti Angri Padma Sudha. So, first verse proof spoke about how the demons merge in the impersonal Brahman, attain Brahma Sukh, but the devotees, here the classification is done, the discrimination is done. The Prema Bhaktis, they attain the lotus feet of the Lord. So now again, here Jiva Goswami says this verse describes especially the supreme position of the devoted gopis. The word Priya indicates this. The devoted gopis are very dear to Krishna. Priya means very, very dear. That is what is the meaning of Priya. Now, Rup Goswami, 282, he had mentioned, he's in this, proof. He's giving a scriptural proof for both these types. The demons who are killed by Krishna and the pure devotees, how they attain two different destinations. So he quotes this from the Vedas personified. They glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the 10th canto, 87th chapter. From this quotation, he proves that different destinations are attained by the demons compared to the pure devotees. So this is a very famous verse from the 10th canto. Tatacha Shri Dashame. Nibrittamarun mano akshadridiyoga Punaya upasate tadaryo piyayo smaranat. Striya uragendra bhoja bhujadanda visakto diya. Vayam apite sama samadrisho angri saroja sudha. So the Vedas personified are praying here simply by constantly thinking of him, Smaranat, the enemies of the Lord. Tad araya api. Araya means the enemy. Api. So they also attained Yayo, the same Brahman that sages fixed in yoga worship. Yad drida yoga yujo munayo pasate. So what the Munis attain, impersonal Brahman, the same destination was attained by the Aris, the enemies, by controlling their breath, mind, and senses. Nibrit, Marut, Mano, Aksha. They very strenuously control their mind and senses and practice this, Ashtanga Yoga or Gyan Yoga. Similarly, now as they have done, similarly, Yatha, it is said, similarly, we Shrutis, this is a personified Shrutis, Vayamapi, adopting the mood similar to the gopis, Samadrisho, and finally attaining similar bodies, Te Sama, will achieve the same nectar of your lotus feet, Angri Saroja Sudha. that your consorts are able to relish because of their loving attraction to your mighty serpentine arms. So here the personified Vedas are praying that we also want to attain the similar mood of the gopis. And we know in Krishna Lila, there were the Nitya Siddha gopis. The Nitya Siddha gopis are the gopis who come from the spiritual world along with the Lord to participate in the Lord's pastimes. And there are something who are called as the Sadhana Siddha gopis. The Sadhana Siddha gopis are those who in their previous lives have practiced devotion, attained perfection. They have attained perfection. They are sadhya now. They have perfected their life. And now, before going to the spiritual world, they are given a chance to participate in Krishna Lila, where these sadhana siddha gopis are further trained by the Nitya Siddha gopis. And then finally, they take actually birth in a gopi's womb according to the mood in which they have worshipped in their previous lives. And then they finally attain slight, traces of impurities will be there, which we can't even imagine. And further they get purified, and then they go back to the spiritual world along with Krishna and along with the Nitya gopis. And there in the spiritual world, they have perfected spiritual bodies and they become Ragatmika Bhaktas in the spiritual world in Golok Vrindavan. So there were two types of sadhana siddha gopis who had appeared in Vraj Leela. One were the Dandakaranya rishis. Dandakaranya rishis had worshipped, Sham Sundar Krishna. So even though Lord Ram gave them darshan, but they were seeing Sham Sundar Krishna, and Lord Ram understood, and he said, "I will fulfill your promise in the next incarnation." And then the, personified Vedas here. So the personified Vedas also desired this, and that's why they are praying that we Shrutis, adopting the same mood of the gopis, will finally attain similar bodies and achieve your lotus feet. So here now Jiva Goswami makes many things clear in his commentary. So here he states, the author matches the statement of this verse from the prayers of the personified Vedas in the 10th canto with the attainment of Brahman mentioned in the first half verse of 279 and with the attainment of Lord's feet by Raga mentioned in 281. So Brahman attainment is mentioned in 279 and 280, the Brahmanda Puran verse was quoted. And those who attain Raga in, was mentioned in 281. Now in 282, he is giving the reference of both these destinations. By the use of api twice, once in each of the present verse, two separate pairs of persons with differing destinations should be understood. So here, if you see, tad arayo api, what the yogis attain, the enemies api is used, and the striya refers here to the gopis, vayam api. We also want to attain that same destination. So twice the word api is used, and it refers to two different sets of persons. One is the enemy, and others are, the personified Vedas. The enemies of the Lord attained that Brahman, which the sages contemplate in their hearts simply by remembering of the Lord in fear or hatred. Striya here refers to the gopis as they are well known in this context. The gopis attained the nectar of your lotus feet, the various types of sweetness filled with prema. We, the Upanishads, adopting a mood or emotion similar to that of the gopis, samadrisha, and thus attaining forms like them, sama, also attained the nectar of your lotus feet. So personified Vedas, as I told, they also, appeared in Krishna Lila and attained perfection. The detailed meaning can be seen in the commentary of Srila Sanatana Goswami on the 10th canto called Vaishnava Toshini. If you want to go more into the details, Sanatana Goswami is mentioned. So that's what Rupa Goswami is saying. Furthermore, in the Brahad Vaman Puran, it is stated that the gopis attained the gopi bodies for which they had prayed for. In the previous verse, the attainment of the Lord's feet also applies in general to persons who act with rag, though it directly indicates the gopis. So in the previous verse, Rupa Goswami, those who with rag worship the Lord, they will attain the Lord's lotus feet. So in general, it was mentioned. So it directly also indicates the gopis. The gopis mentioned in the Bhagavatam verse are those Kama Rupa Ragatmika devotees and the personified Shrutis who are speaking. Now, the personified Shrutis are speaking this verse are Kamanuga devotees, those performing Raganuga Sadhana following after the Kama Rupa gopis. Now, what this exactly means, it requires a little clarification. So we have seen that the eternal associates of the Lord practice what is they are called as Ragatmika Bhakta, Ragatmika Bhakti, that is called as Ragatmika Bhakti, and we saw this division, that is Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti and Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. Now, when we start studying what is Raganuga Bhakti now Raganuga Bhakti also has these two divisions. There is something called as Kamanuga Raganuga Bhakti. Kamanuga Raganuga Bhakti means they follow the Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhaktas, that is the gopis. And the Sambandha Rupa Raganuga Bhakti, I am saying Raganuga Bhakti, please hear carefully. The Sambandha Rupa Raganuga Bhakti means they follow the eternal associates of the Lord who are Ragatmika Bhaktas, but they are in relationship, like Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, the friends of Krishna, all these, the elderly Gopas and the Gopis. So they are more attracted to the Vatsalya Ras or the Dasya Ras or the Sakya Ras. But those who are attracted to the Madhurya Ras, who follow the Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti, they practice what is called as Kamanuga Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. They follow in the footsteps of the gopis. So in the next class, maybe tomorrow, we will first go into what is the qualification for practicing Raganuga Bhakti, and then we will go to the types of Raganuga Bhakti. That time it will become more clear. Similarly, the Vrishni should be understood to be Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika Bhaktas, and those who follow after them would be Sambandhanuga Sadhana Bhaktas. So this I have already clarified with the discussion we had. Now Vishwanath Chakra Thakur mentions Nibritha means with extreme steadiness and thus indicates process such as dharana. So this is the Ashtanga Yogis. Nibritha, what the rishis, who practice with extreme steadiness, dharana, dhyan and samadhi and attain liberation. Similar destination is attained by the enemies of Krishna who are killed by Krishna. The Brahman Yad, which the sages worship by fix themselves in yoga by highly controlled pranas, mind and senses, aksha, with only a possibility of attaining it, is attained by the enemies of the Lord by remembering him with hatred. So it's not so easy even for the sages who worship the Brahman or who worship by the Ashtanga Yoga process by controlling the pranas, mind and senses. With great difficulty, they might attain perfection, but that is easily attained by the enemies of Krishna. So that is the glory of bhakti, that is the glory of Krishna. That is how merciful is Krishna, that anyone who, even with hatred and with fear, absorbs his mind in Krishna's form, that is his destination. The gopis are absorbed in thinking Visakta Diya of the arms of Krishna that are like the body of the king of snakes, Urugendra Bhoja. Urugendra refers to the, the snake, the king of snakes. So sometimes, the arms are compared to the snake and the walk, Krishna's walk is compared to the walk of the elephant. So these are some metaphors which are used to give us some idea of the transcendental body of Krishna, So now we have finished this discussion of the scriptural proof of Ragatmika Bhakti, both the types, Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti and Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti, scriptural proofs. And now we will be going more into detail about this Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. Now we should remember now, till now we have not yet actually started our subject, that is, Raganuga Bhakti. First, this Ragatmika Bhakti. What is this Ragatmika Bhakti? In brief, actually, it's not in detail. In brief, Rupa Goswami is giving some hints. So till now, what we discussed, if anyone has any questions, you can raise your hands. Any questions, any clarifications you have? Any questions? Okay. So now we will now go into details of what is Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. Rupa Goswami is giving some details of this Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti and Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti because sadhakas should know about it. That is why he is giving, in some detail here. Whereas in other divisions of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he goes more detail and some other scriptures also written by Rupa. Come to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1 to 283. Tatra Kamarupa. Sa Kamarupa Sambhoga Trishnam Ya Nayati Swatmam Yad Asyam Krishna Saukartam Eva Kevalam Udyama. Gatmika Bhakti. But here he is defining what is Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. That type of bhakti with full absorption in the beloved is called Kama Rupa Bhakti. Sa Kama Rupa. Full absorption in the beloved, which produces Ya Nayati, an intrinsic thirst for a conjugal relationship with the Lord in the Atma. Swa Atmam. Sambhoga Trishna. Sambhoga Trishna means the thirst. We saw the general definition of Ragatmika Bhakti. Ishte Swarasiki Raga. Paramavishtata Tan Bhavet. So similarly, there is a thirst. This is pure thirst out of pure love, and there is no trace of lust. This we should be very, very clear. It is called bhakti because yad, in that condition, asyam, there is only eagerness for giving pleasure to Krishna. Krishna Saukya Artam Eva Kevalam Udyama. So this is a very, very pure type of, prema. Although the name is given Kama, but it's really to give pleasure to Krishna. So that is, defined here as Kama say about this in his commentary. Kama should be described as a particular type of prema. I made it clear, with full spontaneous absorption in the beloved object, which was already mentioned in the definition of Ragatmika Bhakti. I already spoke about it. This verse begins to describe Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. That type of Bhakti, Sa, whose very form is prema, not material lust, is called Kama Rup in this verse, and no other type, and which produces a thirst for conjugal enjoyment with the Lord as one's essential nature. What is the cause of this Kama being prema? In that Kama Rupa Bhakti, there is only an intense zeal for the happiness of Krishna. So, we are having some glimpse of, how pure is this Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. In the Chaitanya Charitamrit, a glimpse is given, and even in the Krishna Lila pastimes, that how the gopis, when Krishna, after going for grazing, for cow herding pastimes, he takes the cows in the forest of Vrindavan, and when he's coming back, that is just at the time of sunset, at that time, the gopis used to dress very beautifully, and they used to dress beautifully not because they should look beautiful, because it gives happiness to Krishna. That is the intention, you know. So this is very, very pure. And then, and so that Krishna should, you know, seeing us how the gopis used to live and wait for Krishna to come back to, you know, Nanda Bhavan. And when Krishna is to see the gopis, you know, Krishna is to feel happy. So seeing that Krishna is happy, seeing us, they would feel happy. And Krishna seeing that the gopis are happy, he would feel more happy. And gopis understanding that Krishna is feeling happy, they would feel still more happy. And this process is to continue. Ananda Ambudhi Vardhanam. And this happiness, which is completely spiritual, it is to on expanding. It goes on expanding. And here, you know, the pure intention, intense zeal, happiness, first time is there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. One can refer and you can understand how pure is this, you know, bhakti, which is called as prema. It has nothing to do with third. Even a 3-year-old girl, child, you know, she will recognize, you know, in the mirror that I want to look beautiful, and she'll start doing makeup and start dressing. And you know, she would like to be looked, she wants that she should be, you know, beautiful, and that's why she will dress herself like this. So this is the nature and the conditioned state. But the gopis is to dress beautifully only for the intense zeal for the happiness of Krishna. So that is the point which I wanted to make about this. Okay, now Rup Goswami composes his own verse to show how this Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti is found in the Vrajvasis. Iyam tu Vrajadevishu suprasiddha virajate asam kam api madhurim tat tat krida nidhanatvat kama iti uchyate budhe. This very famous Kama Rupa Bhakti, Iyam Suprasiddha, appears with brilliance, Virajate. You know, as we had seen in the first verse, Virajintam Abhibhaktam, Vrajavasi Janadishu. Hmm? So it is fully resplendent and, you know, fully brilliant, Virajantim. Where? In the woman of Vraj, Vrajadevishu. They have a particular type of prema. Ayam prema vishesho asyam, which has a special sweetness. Kam api madurim prapta. It is called kam by the boys. Kam iti uchate budhe, because it is the cause of various amorous actions. Tat tad krida nidhanatvat. Because there are various actions performed out of pure love, out of pure spontaneity for the pleasure of Krishna. So that is why this is called as Kamarupa Ragatmika Bhakti. So where this Kamarupa Ragatmika Bhakti is found? In the Vraj Devishu. It is in the Vraj Gopis. Jeev Goswami. The author gives an example of this Kamarupa Bhakti. So as I mentioned, you know, this is the reference for Kamarupa Bhakti. In the its famous nature, Suprasiddha, is illustration left them in the midst of the Ras Leela. So this is the last verse, you know, uh, in the Gopi Geet, which we every Kartik, you know, many temples sing. This is the last verse in Yatte Sujacharnam Buruham Staneshu भीताशने प्रियदधिमहि कर्कशेषु तेनाटितविम्मटसि तद् व्यततेन किं स्वेत् Urpadubhir dhir bhavati ayushamna. O dearly beloved, your lotus feet are so soft that we place them gently on our breast, fearing that your feet will be hurt. Our lives rest only in you. Our minds, therefore, are filled with anxiety that your tender feet might be wounded by pebbles as you roam about in the forest path. So, this pure, prema which resides in the gopis, how is their consciousness? How pure is their consciousness? Here in this verse, it is, a glimpse is given in this verse. But in such examples, the word Kamarupa actually should be Kamatmika, completely filled with thirst. The phrase Kamarupa expresses only bhakti composed of conjugal actions and not the conjugal emotions. Whereas the phrase Kamatmika, bhakti completely inundated with conjugal feelings, indicates bhakti endowed with conjugal feelings as well as actions. So this is a technical thing that it should be called as kamatmika because there are emotions as well as actions. When we love someone, how do we know that we have that love? It is shown by our actions. How much we want to, uh, uh, how we act and serve that person. To just give you example, Srila Prabhupada's disciples, especially his three Grahas disciples, Shamsundar Prabhu, and I'm not able to recollect the name, other two disciples, they went to England and started the Hare Krishna movement. And somehow they were able to attract George Harrison. And Prabhupada had decided to come to England. And for Prabhupada's sake, all these three disciples, they day and night, were setting the whole stage for Prabhupada's arrival. They were making the house clean, they were making all arrangements. So George Harrison could understand that these disciples have a lot of love for their spiritual master. So the love which is there in the heart, prema, it exhibits in actions. So that is why the right phrase here, Jiva Goswami says, is kamatmika, because it is not only feelings, it is as well as actions. It would not be possible for that thirst composed only of actions to cause complete transformation into prema. So, the actions are done fully out of prema. So that is what the point he makes. However, even though this kama rupa is composed of action, this action will produce a transformation because part of the action is the action of the mind. So because the mind is pure, the soul is filled with prema, and from the soul, the prema manifests in the mind and in the body in the form of actions. We have in our material, experience, we have material desires, and these material desires are manifested in the mind, and the mind pushes the senses to fulfill these material desires. Similarly, prema, pure love, resides in the soul of these pure devotees, and it manifests in the pure mind, and it manifests in actions. In the mind, the person thinks, Krishna will attain happiness from me. So this is how their mood and emotions are. They are completely very, very pure. Thus, the transformation into prema in the Atma will take place since both the body and mind are involved. So that is the point which Jiva Goswami is clarifying. Now, Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti, where is the scriptural proof, evidence? Tata cha Tantre. Tantra refers to sometimes the Tantra or the Padma Puran also it refers. Premeva Gopa Ramananam Kama iti Agamat Pratham. The Kama Rupa Bhakti of the gopis. Gopa Ramananam Kama has become famous simply as Prema. Premeva iti Pratham Agamat. So in the Tantra, there is this reference which proves that the gopis have this, Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. This is one evidence he gives. The another evidence he gives in the next verse, 286 it is, or 285. Just a second. Anyone has any questions in between also can raise their hands and we can take it up. Any point if you have not understood while discussing the purport, you can definitely raise your hands and we can take it up. The second reference, 286, is Iti Uddavadayo Pi Etam Vanchita Bhagavata Priya. And because it is a form of exalted prema, Iti, persons such as Uddava Api, dear to the Lord, Bhagavat Priya, desire that aspect of it. Etad Vanchita. So when Uddhava visited Vrindavan with the message of Krishna and saw the purity and the gopis prema for Krishna, he also desired that let me also possess this kind of prema. Although Uddhava is related in Moka Sakya and Dasya, combination is there, but he also desired this exalted form of prema. It doesn't mean that he also wanted to become a gopi, but he appreciated and glorified this prema what the Vraj gopis have. So this Jeev Goswami makes it clear in his commentary. The word iti indicates the reason why Kama Rupa Bhakti is well known as prema. Uddhava, by expressing his desire in the following verse, makes that Kama Rupa Bhakti famous as prema. Heta param tanubrito भुवि गोपवदय वदो गोविन्द एव निकलात्मनि हृदभावा भाञ्चन्ति यद् भवभियो मनयो वयं च किं ब्रह्मजन्मभिर् अनन्तकथारसस्य. Among all persons on earth, Eta Bhuvi, earth is called as Bhuvi. These cowherd women alone, Gopya Vadava Eva, have actually perfected their embodied lives. Param Tanu Brito, for they have achieved the perfection of unalloyed love. Rudha Bhava. Rudha Bhava actually refers to prema. The highest levels of prema sometimes are referred in more technical terms as Rudhi Bhava, Rudha Bhava. This is also called as Mahabhav also. They have attained pure Mahabhav or pure prema for Lord Govinda. Nikhila Atmani Govinda. Their pure love is hankered after Yad Vanchita by those who fear material existence, Bhavabhiya, by great sages, Munaya, and by ourselves as well, Vayamvi. I also desire that kind of prema what these gopis have. Uddhava is saying, for one who has tasted the nourishment of taking birth as a high-class Brahmana or even as Lord Brahma himself. Kim Brahma Janmabir. What is the use? So this is Uddhava's realization after meeting the gopis and seeing their pure unalloyed love for Krishna. The word etam indicates prema similar to theirs. Etadrisha, similar to their intense prema. Rudha bhava, I explained, prema is sometimes called as Rudha bhava, characterized by emotions by which they identify themselves as conjugal lovers of Govinda. However, now he is clarifying, Jiva Goswami, it should be understood that he actually did not desire the gopis' particular type of prema, because such a desire would suggest that he is forcing conformity to the goal of Kama Rupa Bhakti on the desire fear of material existence, the liberated Munaya and devotees. Thus, there would be no existence of other Sthayi Bhavas such as Sakya or Dasiras. So it's not that, the gopis, prema is in Madhurya Ras. And this cannot be imposed on those who want to desire liberation. Those those who want to become free from this addiction, or the devotees also. The devotees also will worship the Lord based on their mood, and that mood can be in Sakya or in Dasya also. So this permanent mood or permanent emotion is called as Sthahi Bhav. Sthahi means that which is fixed or permanent. So Mother Yashoda's Sthahi Bhav towards Krishna is that of Vatsalya, parental love. And the friends of Krishna in Sakyaras. Sakya means friendship. So this, eternal permanent emotion in one's relationship with Krishna is called as Sthahi Bhav. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu in the southern division goes into a lot of details of, the whole science of, this. But just to give you a glimpse, what exactly is Sthahi Bhav, I'm giving here a hint. In this world also, we see in our relationships, the husband and wife, they are related in conjugal love, and the mother with the child, she has the emotion that of, parental affection. The parental affection is there, so, and then the husband has his friends, so they have, friendship. So all these, emotions are there in different relationships, but the eternal associates have only one kind of permanent study. Mother Yashoda will always have Vatsalya Ras towards Krishna. The gopis will always have Madhurya Ras. The friends of Krishna will have always Sakya Ras with Krishna, because that is their permanent emotion, Stahi Bhav. And that is why, Krishna, who is the reservoir of all rasas, he's Akil Rasamrit Murti. He relishes all these rasat with his eternal devotees. Uddhava desired intensity of their prema, the intensity. He wanted to give up his, friendship, and he had friendship with Krishna. He was more related in Sakya and even Vatsalya, I think, and even in Dasya. All three rasas he was, uh, in relationship with Krishna. Thus, when Uddhava says he desires their prema, he does not desire the Kama Rupa Bhav. He just doesn't desire the Kama Rupa Bhav of the of the gopis. He only desired the intensity. Oh, let me have also have this kind of love how the gopis have, but he doesn't desire the Kama Rupa Bhavana of the gopis. That is now, in the next verse, any questions, any clarifications you have regarding what we discussed till now? Any questions, any clarifications? Okay. So, in the next verse now, Rupa Goswami uh, gives some clarification. Kama praya rati kintu kubjayam eva samata. But the wise agree to samata that the attraction to Krishna seen in Kubjali due to Kam only. Kama praya eva. So we know this pastime when Krishna entered Mathura, many things happened. The Dhobi, who was carrying Kamsa's clothes, he did not give the clothes, so Krishna killed him. He showed his martial arts technique by slashing his throat. And then the Sudhama Malakar met, Krishna met him, he offered Chandan and, offered the garlands. And then Kubja also met Trivikra, who is called as Trivikra, and, Krishna straightened her. So all these pastimes happened. Hare Krishna, I think the internet connection is going a little off. So let me try another connection. Let me try another connection. Wait. So yeah, now it is. I think now it is better. So now regarding Kubja, he mentions that this is Kama. Although there was attraction, there was Rati. So here there is some clarification given. That Kubja had a prominence of Kama is evident in her not showing the actions of pure prema of the gopis. So Kubja's actions were not pure as the actions of the gopis. The gopis' actions were very, very pure solely for the happiness of Krishna, as it was defined in the previous verses. The pure prema is illustrated in the following verse. We referred this verse. This pure prema we discussed. We cannot discuss anything much more about it. She, on the other hand, exhibits only lusty actions. Tato rupa gunaudarya sampanna praya keshavam uttariyantam akrishya smayanti chatarichaya. So this is from that pastime, 10th canto, 42nd chapter. Now endowed with beauty, character and generosity. Trivikra tato rupam guna audarya sampanna. Trivikra, she was, what is that? Hunchback. It is called as hunchback. She had a hunchback and she, three places was bent and she was very ugly. So Krishna, when he straightened her, not only she became straight, but she became beautiful, and she was endowed with character and generosity, began to feel lusty desires for Lord Keshav. Keshavam Jata Chaya, taking hold of the end of his upper cloth, Uttariyantam Akrishna, she smiled, Smayanti. So here, this verse explains that this is, not pure prema, and there was, kama. However, she is said to have rati to a small degree. In the verse it is mentioned kama praya rati. Praya, there was because rati was there. She had attraction to Krishna. Why was this? Because the object of her attraction was Krishna. She was fortunate that the object of her attraction was Krishna. So there is a rati to a small degree found in even Kubja. So this is about Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti and the details of this what is found in the Vraj Gopis. Now Rupa Goswami mentions about Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. Now, it is very important that those who are practitioners of Raganuga Bhakti, they should know who are the Ragatmika Bhaktas and what are these divisions in Ragatmika Bhakti. There is Kama Rupa, there is Sambandha Rupa, and in what moods, they are, these eternal associates are, worshipping Krishna and loving Krishna. So that is why Rupa Goswami is giving details here. And, those who are sadhakas, who are, qualified to practice Ragana Bhakti, they will get attracted to other Kama Rupa, the gopis. They will follow in the footsteps of gopis, or they might follow Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, or the friends of Krishna. So that is why Rupa Goswami is being discussing a little details of Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti and Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. So now he discusses Sambandha Ragatmika Bhakti. Samma Govinde Prithadi Abhimanita Atropalaksha Nataya Vrishninam Vallava Mata Yadishya Jnana Shunyatvat Esham Rage Pradhanata. So he defines now Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti, Sambandha Rupe, is that bhakti inspired by great absorption arising from identifying oneself as a parent, friend, or servant of Govinda. Govinda, Pitra, Vadya. Pitra means father, Adya means others, like friend and servant. Abhimanita. Abhiman means you have a Abhiman. Krishna is my son. Krishna is my friend. You know, I am Krishna's servant. So only these, the Sambandharup Ragatmika Bhakti, now we should be very clear. They are only, exhibited in three rasas: Vatsalya, Sakya, and Dasya. Ragatmika Bhakti is only Madhurya Ras. This refers to the bhakti of the cowherd people, which is indicated by the word Sambandhat Vrishnaya, quoted in 275 as an example of Sambandha. Atra Upalakshataya Vrishninam Vallava Mata. So we refer to 75 verse, Sambandhat Vrishnaya Sneyat Yuyam, as the a verse from the 7th canto. This is because these other relationships in Vraj also have a predominance of intense affection, raga. Yada esham rage pradhanata. Pradhan means it is, predominant, caused by the lack of awareness of Krishna as God. Isha jnana shunyatvad. There is intense affection first, but also there is lack of awareness that Krishna is God. Whereas, there is affection of the Pandavas for Krishna, but there is awareness of Krishna as God. That is why that is not classed as Sambandhanu, Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. That we have clarified. So here in the Vrajvasis, there is affection in any of these three rasas, and there is lack of awareness of God. It is very interesting. The Vrajvasis do not accept Krishna as God. And the conditioned souls in the material world also do not accept Krishna as God. But there is a lot of difference. The conditioned souls who do not accept the Lord as Krishna as God, they are in deep, deep ignorance. Whereas the Brajvasis are in deep enlightenment. And deep is their enlightenment that they forget God is God and they accept God as a friend, lover, and son. So that is the difference. There is no awareness that Krishna is God. That is the beauty of Vraj Bhakti. Priti Vadya Abhimanita, having identity as the father, etc. of Krishna, actually means inspired by intense affection, raga, caused by that identity as a father. The reference to the Vrishnis is from the Bhagavatam verse quoted in 275. We had quoted this 275 verse, Sambandhat Vrishnaya of the text. One should take the word Vrishni to mean the cowherd men, rather the inhabitants of Mathura and Dwarka. So the Vrishni refers to the inhabitants of, Vraj, that is, Vrindavan, not of Mathura or Dwarka. The example, sorry, this is an example of a Jalal Lakshana. The original meaning of the word is not given up completely. Now, this is very interesting. A Jalahal Lakshana. Now, what is this A Jalahal Lakshana? Jeev Goswami gives a little explanation, and it is interesting to know this. Note, firstly, he clarifies that the Vrishnis refer to the Vrajvasis. King Devamida, this is about the genealogy of the family of where Krishna was born. King Devamida of the Yadu clan, he was from the Yadu Vamsha, had two wives, one of a Kshatriya family and other of the Vaishya family. Through the Kshatriya wife, he bore a son named Sura, and through a Vaishya wife, he bore a son named Parjanya. Sura had a son named Vasudev, a Kshatriya, and Krishna appeared as the son of Vasudev as Vasudeva. Also, Krishna appeared as the son of Mother Yashoda and Krishna in Vrindavan also. This we should remember. This is a mystery of Krishna's birth. And Parjanya had named Vasudev a Kshatriya. Sorry, Sura had a son named Vasudha, a Kshatriya, and Parjanya had named Vasudev a Kshatriya, and Parjanya had, sorry, twice it has come by mistake. And Parjanya had a son named Nanda, a cowherd. So Sura's son was Vasudev, and Parjanya's son was Nanda. Nanda is referring to Nanda Maharaj. Thus, Nanda and his family of cowherds should be considered Vrishnis also, because if you go back to the lineage, ultimately it is coming from Devamida, who was from the Yadu clan. So Devamida had two wives, Kshatriya and Vaishya. From the Kshatriya, Sura was born, and from the Vaishya, Parjanya, from Parjanya Nanda, and from Sura, Vasudev. So that's why the Vrishnis also refers to the Nanda Vrajvasis. However, usually a term refers to the Vrishni family in Mathura and Dwarka. So Vrishni, in a general sense, refers to the family of Krishna in Mathura and Dwarka. In Lakshana, the direct meaning must be given up in favor of some other meaning where the direct meaning does not make sense. So while studying scriptures, this comes, many times in the scriptures, that the scriptures should be understood by their mukhya vritti. Mukhya vritti means direct meaning. But once the direct meaning doesn't make sense, then we'll have to look into other meanings. That is the indirect meaning. Like, Arjuna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Sthita pragyasya ka bhasha, samadhistasya keshava, Sthita kim prabhasita, kim asita, vrajeta kim. Sthita pragyasya, one who is a self-realized soul, ka bhasha, which language he speaks, Sanskrit, Bengali, or Arabic, Greek. Sthita pragya ka bhasha, samadhistasya keshava, one who is situated in samadhi, kim Kim asit vrajet kim. Kim Sita pragyasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava. Sita pragya kim. I'm not able to recollect. Kim asit kim vrajet kim. It is there. The third line and the fourth. Kim asit means how does he sit? And vrajet kim vrajet means how does he walk? So the direct meaning doesn't make any sense. Self-realized soul is not recognized by how he walks and how he sits. So that time we'll have to look into the indirect meaning. So indirect meaning means Sthita pragyasya ka bhasha means what is his language? It is not language. Means what are his symptoms? Bhasha also refers to symptoms. And kim asit means how does he sit? How does he sit means how his senses are fully controlled by him. And how does he walk means although his senses means he's walking around in this world, how is he not affected by the sense objects in this world? And this is how the indirect meaning, it is called as Lakshana Vritti. It is called Lakshana Vritti is indirect meaning. So when the direct meaning doesn't make sense, we have to look into the indirect meaning. So Mukhya Vritti is called as direct meaning, and Lakshana Vritti is called as indirect meaning. If the meaning is given up completely, then it is called Jahal Lakshana. Jahal Lakshana means we have to completely give up the direct meaning. In 2.54, we have to completely give up the direct meaning. But only part of the original meaning is given up. It is called as a Jahal Lakshana. So only part of it, because Vrishnis, completely, the indirect meaning, we completely don't give up the indirect meaning. There is part of it. The Vrishnis we separate of Mathura and Dwarka, and we say it is the Vrishnis of Vrindavan. So part of it, original meaning is given up, then it is called as a Jahal Lakshan. If it is completely given up, it is called as Jahal Lakshan. So this is a technical thing And especially when we study Shastra, sometimes, the direct meaning doesn't make sense. And that's why we'll have to look into indirect meanings. That is how we study, especially when we study the Bhagavad Gita. Trividas Narkasedam Dwaram Nashana Atmana. Krishna tells in the 16th chapter, there are three doors to hell: Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Sata. Tasmat etam trayam tajet. So there are three doors to hell. It's not that literally these three doors are there. You can see some three doors. You know, Dwaram Nashana Atmana. The soul is destroyed, he says. But the soul, Avinashi tu tadvidhi. The soul is never destroyed. Krishna said in the second chapter. So what is destroyed is not the soul, but the soul's consciousness is destroyed. The soul's consciousness gets degraded. So indirectly, we'll have to take the meaning. So the indirect meaning is called as Lakshana. And when it is completely given up, the indirect meaning, that is called as Jahal Lakshan. When partly it is, original meaning is given up, then it is called as Ahajal Lakshan. So this is what Rupa Goswami speaks about it. In this case, the complete meaning of Vrishni is not given up, but must refer only to Nanda's lineage of the cowherd men in the Vrishni line and not the inhabitants of Mathura and Dwarka, since their devotion is mixed with Aishwarya. Say they have the awareness about the Lord, that the Lord is, Bhagwan, He is Krishna, He is Prabhu, He is Swami, He is the owner of all these planetary systems. They have this Aishwarya Gyan. So we have to only separate the Vrishni line of Nand and exclude the Vrishni line of the Kshatriya lineage coming from Vasudev and Surasena. So that's how Vishwanath Chakra Thakur explains. Jeev Goswami explains. Vishwanath Chakra Thakur gives some additional insights. The word Vrishnaya in the phrase Sambandhat Vrishnaya, the Vrishnis attained perfection by relationship, indicates Vallava. Vallava refers to the cowherd men. Vallava actually is a word which is directly denoting the cowherd men of Vrindavan. I don't know how it is, so I cannot speak about it, but I have heard in one lecture, Vallava refers to the cowherd men. The reason for indicating only the cowherd men and the Hindus is given by the phrase because they have predominance of spontaneous absorption caused by lack of awareness of Krishna as God. The sense of the verse is as follows. So here, it refers only to the cowherd men and not the Hindus because they have lack of awareness of Krishna. Only in Vrindavan, Krishna is God is not accepted by the Vrajvasis. Bhaktya Vayam referred to Vaidhi Bhakti, and the Vrishni's Bhakti would be included in that type of Bhakti. Even the Vrishni's Bhakti would be included in that type of Bhakti. In the beginning of the verse, the gopis were mentioned to be the prime examples of Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. Therefore, the residents of Raj, the cowherd men, should be considered as the chief examples of Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti. So that's how, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur further clarifies. If the meaning of the Vrishni is taken to be the relatives in Dwarka, the enumeration of the types of bhakti would be incomplete with the fault of deficiency. There will be deficiency because, you're telling Ragatmika Bhakti is found in Rajvasis, then you're including Dwarkavasis also if you include the Vrishnis as Dwarkavasis. So that's why there will be some fault. So that's how he explains it. Next verse in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Kama sambandha rupe te prema matra swarupake nitya siddhashritat ashrayataya natra samyak vicharite. Since Kamarupa and Sambandharupa Bhakti, Kamarupa, Sambandharupate, which are caused by Prema alone, Prema Matra Sarupake, take shelter in Nitya Siddhas, Nitya Siddha Ashritaya. They are only found in the Nitya Siddhas, the eternal associates of Krishna. They have not been discussed in this section thoroughly. Atra na samyak vicharate. So Rupa Goswami has not gone more in details of this Kama Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti and Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti, because it is only found in the eternal associates of Krishna. So that is why he has not discussed it here. So there is one question, so let us take it up.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Yeah, very clear.
Prabhuji, my question.
One second, just hold. Okay, yeah, I'll mute you. Now you can just once again tell me what's your question. I've unmuted you. You can unmute yourself from there. I'm not able to hear you. You have to unmute yourself there.
Yeah, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, please tell me.
Prabhuji, my question is this Uddhav Maharaj, he was residing in Mathura and he was a great devotee of Lord Krishna.
Uddhav Maharaj?
Uddhava.
Uddhava was residing in Dwarka. Yeah, continue.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Yes, Prabhuji, what's your question? Maybe you can type it so that, it's easy, because I think there is some technical problem from your side. So I will take another question which has come up here. What is the mood of the wives of Krishna? Also, was the mood of the 8 primary wives of Krishna different from the 16,108 wives whom Krishna rescued from Narkasur? Likewise, can you explain it from the view of Krishna's children and grandchildren and other yadus? Okay, so in Madhurya Ras is conjugal love. There are 2 types. One is called as Swakiya and other is Parakiya. In English, it is called as wedded love and unwedded love. Wedded love is the love which is between husband and wife. It is Madhurya Ras, but it is between husband and wife. So the queens of Dwarka, they were related to Krishna and Madhurya Ras. It is wedded love, but still in that Madhurya Ras also, there is awareness about Krishna's, personality. That Krishna is our husband, but he's also the supreme personality of Godhead. Even Rukmini in her prayers, recognizes Krishna as the supreme, and similar with all the queens. So they had this similar mood, and they used to serve also Krishna, in all these different moods. In fact, in Madhurya, there is Dasya also and there is Sakya also included, and Vatsal is also there. So they used to serve Krishna as servants, they used to do chamar. Rukmini was doing chamar for Krishna while Krishna is taking prasad. And, there is friendship also. In the wedded love also, there is friendship with husband and wife. So also there was Madhurya, but it was in wedded. In Swakiya Ras, it is called in Sanskrit. But the gopis of Vrindavan, their conjugal love or Madhurya Ras was in unwedded. It is called as unwedded. It is called as Parikya Ras. And this is considered very, very supreme. And that is why in the Anarpitam verse we recited from Chaitanya Charita, Unnata Ujjvala Ras. Unnata Ujjvala Ras. It is called the Ujjvala Ras. And this is considered still superior in Madhurya Ras. And this is only, there in Vraj, in the Vraj Gopis it is found. So Srila Prabhupada is to give, some example for us to understand in our mundane conditioned consciousness. He is to give an example of how a wife who is, having a husband, but she is in love with a paramour outside, the marriage. So this wife at home will very meticulously do all her duties, but in her heart, she will be always thinking of how I can, uh, meet my paramour, you know. And Prabhupada is to explain that this kind of, love, which is outside the marriage, this kind of love is very, very strong. It's very, very strong. And Prabhupada gives this example for us to also, explain that we should develop this kind of, love for devotion for Krishna. But in the material world, as per dharma, a wife who is married to a husband having a paramour outside the relationship is considered very immoral and it is very degrading. But the attachment the wife has for the paramour is very deep. It's very deep. In fact, we see many times in this world that because of this paramour attachment, sometimes the wife kills the husband, or sometimes, the wife hatches with the paramour a plot to kill the husband also in order to attain the paramour. This is seen in this world. So this kind of, this is a perverted thing what is there in the material world. But in the spiritual world, that is why this unwedded love, which is called as parikaras, is considered superior to swakaras, which is in the wedded love. And all this is discussed in the Bhagavatam, in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu also. Srila Narottam Das Thakur in his bhajans also, he makes it, very clear. Parakya rasa bhave vrajete prachar. Parakya rasa bhave, the emotions of this parakya ras bhave vrajete prachar, which, which is exhibited in Vrindavan. He sings in one of his bhajans. So that's regarding, this question. And Krishna's children, grandchildren, and the other Yadus, Krishna's children are related to in, Krishna in Vatsalya Ras. And the Yadus also, are related to Krishna in friendship. They are, it's sambandha of, Krishna. They are my family members, Krishna is our family member, but also there is intimacy, but they also recognize Krishna as, supreme. But they are part of their family and there is deep affection also. And the moods of the Yadus can vary, maybe Ugrasen is in, having a different mood. I don't know exactly which mood it is. And the other, relatives of Krishna might be having either Sakya or, a combination, Sakya and Dasya. And, there is Vatsalya also might be. But all these moods are there with Aishwarya Gyan that Krishna is Bhagavan. But the Dasya, Sakya and Vatsalya, which is found in Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika Bhakti in Vraj, is pure. Firstly, it is in relationship, but there is lack of awareness of Krishna as God. So that's the difference. So that answers the Prem question. Prem had this one question. Any others who have any questions can raise your hands. Virendra Yadavji, you can type your question because there is some disturbance at your end. So we are completing this discussion about Ragatmika and Raganuga Bhakti. Tomorrow's class will be very crucial because we will start actually discussing Raganuga Bhakti. What is the qualification to practice Raganuga Bhakti? So we will discuss that, and we will discuss one more verse and wind up today. So there is one more question which is being asked by Prashant Prabhuji. What about Devaki's Vatsalya Ras? Yes, Devaki has Vatsalya Ras, but she also recognizes Krishna as supreme. That is why when Krishna was born, firstly Krishna was born in his Chatur Narayan form. Then he turned into a child, and Mother Devaki offered prayers to Krishna. Those prayers are there in the Bhagavatam. And later on we see when after Krishna performed his pastimes in Vrindavan and came to Mathura and killed Kamsa, both Krishna and Balram came in front of their mother and father, Vasudeva and Krishna. And that time, Mother Devaki's Vatsalya Prem towards Krishna somehow became covered. And she was thinking, oh, these two children, they were able to kill Chanur and Mushtik, Kamsa, such powerful personalities, they are Bhagwan. So Devaki was not ready to accept Krishna as, uh, her child. That Vatsalya Ras was there, but he was Bhagwan also. That Aishwarya Bhav was there. So Krishna and Balram were not being hugged and embraced by their parents, and Krishna and Balram were feeling uncomfortable there. They were feeling very uncomfortable there. And Krishna, by his Yogamaya potency, covered his Aishwarya knowledge, her Aishwarya knowledge, and immediately Devaki's Vatsalya Prem manifested, and her milk was flowing from her breast. She embraced Krishna and fed Krishna her breast milk. But Devaki and Vasudev, although they are in Vatsalya Ras, they also have this Aishwarya Gyan. Their Aishwarya Gyan remains. It remains. And Mother Yashoda, her Vatsalya Prem is so pure that she will never accept Krishna as God. Such deep is her Vatsalya Prem. Although Krishna might show his Aishwarya, but her prema is so intense, guard, that prema covers this Aishwarya knowledge, and that's why Krishna, even if he manifests, as Krishna manifested, when in the Brahma, not in the Brahma Vimalila, in the pastime where Krishna ate the mud, and in the mouth of Krishna, she saw the entire universes, all the planetary systems, and in fact, she saw herself, and she saw Krishna, and she saw that she is seeing in Krishna's mouth all the universes. A double vision was given. But her prema, Vatsalya prema, was so intense that although Krishna showed his Aishwarya, but her prema covered that Aishwarya also. And again, oh, this is my child. What is this illusion I'm seeing? So that's how she thought, Mother Yashoda. So it is said sometimes, especially in Bengal, the milk is carried with in the bicycle, and they keep some grass in it so that it doesn't spoil. So when you boil the milk, sometimes the straw of grass might be remaining, and while boiling the milk, the straw also might come up. So similarly, the Vatsalya Prem of Devaki is there, but the straw is like that, the Aishwarya Gyan. It comes up, but it stays in Devaki. It doesn't go away. But for Mother Yashoda, the straw will come up, and automatically after some time it will go down. It doesn't stay. It doesn't stay. That is the difference of the prema, difference of Mother Yashoda and Devaki. I hope it is clear. Yeah. Prabhuji, what about Akrura and Uddhava's bhav? Akrura is more in, Dasya Ras. Uddhava, as I told you, he has both. He's a Saka of Krishna. He's a very dear Saka of Krishna. He's an advisor to Krishna. And, I don't recollect which verse it is. There is one verse in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu which mentions that there are, Haridasya Varya. Haridasya Varya means the best among the servants of Hari. And who are they? It is Yudhishthir, Uddhava, and then Govardhan. So I will try to get the verses in tomorrow's class and explain which are the rasas in which Uddhava is connected to Krishna, and Yudhishthir, and then Govardhan, to understand more. Okay. So I would not like to speculate about Uddhava, but as far as I know, I remember it is Saka, but he has got other rasas also. So let me tomorrow work on that. So I'll just take now one verse which is remaining so that we can tomorrow start with you know uh, the next chapter, qualification for practicing Ragana Bhakti. So we saw this that it is exhibited in the Nitya Siddhas. Swarupa here means cause. The Nitya Siddhas such as Nanda are the main shelters of this type of bhakti. Because of this, these two are not thoroughly discussed in this section on sadhana, but will be discussed in other chapters. Other chapters of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, especially the southern, the western and the northern, will discuss. There are many sub-varieties of Kama Rupa and Sambandha Rupa Bhakti. Why are these varieties not mentioned? This verse answers. These two, Kama Rupa and Sambandha Rupa Bhakti, exist only at the level of Prema. The main places in which they manifest are the Nitya Siddhas such as Nanda. The word Ashrita, taking shelter of, expresses the state of being remaining within. Because these two types of bhakti remain within the Nitya Siddhas, they are not thoroughly discussed in this section sealing with sadhana. This is sadhana bhakti we are discussing. In sadhana, there are two types, Vaidhi and Raganuga. So we are discussing sadhana, that's why they are not discussed. Atra samyak vicharate. However, they will be discussed in appropriate chapters. Now this is the last verse for today. Ragatmika, ragatmikaya Daividavat Vidaraga Chasa Kamanuga cha Sambandha Nuga Cheti Nigadyate. From these two types of Ragatmika Bhakti, Siddha Bhakti, Daividatvad Ragatmika, two types of Raganuga Bhakti, Sadhana Bhakti, Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, Dvida Raganuga cha, called Kamanuga and Sambandhunaga Bhakti are derived. So here, now this discussion of Ragatmika, Kama Rupa Ragatmika and Sambandha Rupa Ragatmika was done. And now, because of these two types of Ragatmika Bhakti, there are two types of Raganuga Bhakti. Kamanuga Raganuga Bhakti, Sambandhanuga Raganuga Bhakti. And within Kamanuga Raganuga Bhakti, there are again two subdivisions, which we will all see tomorrow. Later on, maybe when we see, first qualification, what is the qualification for practicing Raganuga Bhakti, which we will be seeing tomorrow. Further divisions, I will put it in the table to make it clear. Having described the qualities of Ragatmika Bhakti as a secondary topic, this is a secondary topic. The main topic was of discussion of Raganuga Bhakti, but it was important to discuss Ragatmika Bhakti, so Rupa Goswami has discussed. The qualities of Raganuga Sadhana, the topic of this discussion, are now described. So now the description will begin. So the next verse is qualification for Raganuga Bhakti, which we will discuss tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be very interesting, because what is the adhikar to enter into this Raganuga Bhakti we'll be discussing, and what is that greed, how to know whether we have that kind of greed, and how to actually practice now sadhana bhakti, to ultimately come to Raganuga Bhakti. More discussions we will be having tomorrow. So let's meet tomorrow again the same time. Again, any questions or clarifications here? Anyone has any questions? So we just ran 3 minutes more. We were supposed to stop at 8:30. It was 8:33. I just took up 2 questions and quite detailed answered. So that's why we just shot out of time. So I'm very, very grateful to all the devotees assembled here. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai, Shri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu ki jai. Hare Krishna.